Welcome to This Must Be the Place. On this week's episode, I don't know what we're doing, man, but we're doing it.
This must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place. Ain't no time to waste. Ain't no time to waste. So whether you in Minneapolis or St. Paul, Bloomington to Maple Grove, from the east side to the west side, down south to way up north, let me hear you say, this must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place. This must be the place.
Hello,
Okay, there we go.
and welcome to This Must Be the Place.
Hello.
We made it. The only Twin Cities real estate and real estate adjacent podcast where one of the hosts
Yep. Is wholly unprepared for the podcast.
is looking into opening a female-only hamburger restaurant.
Called?
Her Burgers.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I thought you were going to say called Patties.
No, that's not as good as, I mean,
No, I mean, Her Burgers is much better.
the branding alone, I mean, it went the way of the dodo bird, didn't it?
Yeah, but I
Her
mean, like,
Burgers?
I'm
Wasn't that
surprised-
like a big department store?
Yeah. It's where Dick's Sporting Goods is now. The last
On
one
University?
I remember. No, that was there too, but in the Roseville Mall. It was a Her Burgers, Rosedale Mall. And
RIP to all the great department stores, from Montgomery Ward's to Carson Peary Scott to Her Burgers.
but listen, man, I think you're onto something, and I'm surprised that this hasn't happened. And I think that the owners of
a bar of their own.
a bar of their own
Open up.
might possibly think about opening up a second location.
That's more food
focused.
called Her Burgers.
Yes, dude.
I just thought of that as like a joke.
No, I
but
think it's.
I think that's really good.
it's really good, and I
actually.
think we cut this little segment here.
Yeah, well, this is proprietary.
Tag them in the clip with an NDA, but then we share it on TikTok,
All
so
right.
everybody can see it.
Love it.
So they have an NDA, but everybody knows it's our idea.
Beautiful.
Sounds legally sound, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is legally sound as safe.
I just finished my CE, and for those of you in normal people world who don't know what CE is, continuing education.
Yes.
And they really drilled down on the fact that we are not lawyers, and we should not be providing legal
advice to
anyone
anybody for any reason.
ever, anywhere, at any time.
Everybody in pretty much that touches a real estate transaction, from us to your title company and the closer, like we're just spouting. We are not attorneys as often as we can.
We are not attorneys.
No, we are not.
Hey, we're not attorneys, but we are realtors, and we are
Men about town,
gentlemen of leisure.
gentlemen of leisure. That cannot be disputed.
And we're good at what we do.
I mean,
We're kind of good at what we do. I'm feeling pretty bad at the podcasting thing today.
I am very much an Anglophile when it comes to certain things. Like I'm very like the British.
Does that mean you're a racist?
I mean, in a sense, the British are historically racist, I
Oh,
guess.
Anglophile.
Anglophile.
Yeah.
In the sense that I subscribe to their sense of humor, which is very kind of modest.
You're a big
and,
Mr. Bean fan?
I wouldn't say that, but just
I
general.
wish I could make my eyes.
Generally, a very humble. Don't pay attention to me. I'm not funny, but I'm actually funny. Like that, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What are we talking about again?
I don't know, man. Summit Hill.
Summit Hill.
And
now,
no, do you want to dive into
Neighborhood
Summit
Watch.
Hill, or I think?
Yes.
Oh, we're going right into it.
Sure.
And now, This Must Be the Place presents Neighborhood Watch.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about the other thing first.
So just a little preview. We're going to talk a little bit about relocation services that we offer.
That we offer. The two of us specifically offer.
And then we're going to talk about Summit Hill.
Yeah.
And legitimately, Summit Hill, I say that like a bunch of neighborhoods are my favorite neighborhood.
You do.
Summit Hill might be my favorite neighborhood from a architectural standpoint. I think the houses there are insanely beautiful.
F. Scott Fitzgerald and Frank Lloyd Wright would disagree with you, and I'll get into why shortly.
Oh, well, I mean, do you want to start out with that? You're already there. Come on. Let's go. Why would those old bastards disagree with me?
So they are old dead bastards. So Summit Hill is the neighborhood that is south of Summit Avenue. It goes all the way west to Aid Mill Road, which is, if you're familiar with St. Paul, which is also called the Short Line, as we know, and Ide Mill Road for all you out-of-towners.
It is Ide Mill.
I always called it Aid Mill my whole life.
Ide.
Damn it.
Because even the news, there's a big thing on the news.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't on the news. There was something that like Minnesotans can't get it right. Like if you watch newscasts, KARE 11, WCCO, whatever, depending on who it is, it'll be different pronunciations every single time.
Sure.
Or different pronunciations, depending on which way you like to go.
Sure.
But I call it Ide Mill.
I've always called it Aid Mill. I've lived here longer, so I'm
Yeah,
right.
I know, but you're like a Minneapolis dummy.
Yeah, but I grew up in St. Paul, bro.
Yeah, but
we haven't really talked about this.
You like, it's your, I don't know, man. It's like saying you're an orphan when you were raised by rich people your whole life.
Just like that. You're right.
You know, what are you, little orphan Ide Mill Annie?
Yeah. So Aid Mill Road to the west, which
Okay.
is where that, what is it, a Kowalski's is now?
Yeah.
And then it kind of forms, the neighborhood kind of forms a bowl shape where it's got 35E to the south and 35E to the east, right? So if you're looking at a map of it, it kind of looks like a bowl with Summit Avenue being the top of the bowl. But it encompasses so much of what makes St. Paul now and historically what it is, because you've got a big, huge chunk of Summit Avenue. You've got a big, huge chunk of Grand Avenue.
And, you know, pretty much since most of the 1900s, I would say, those are the two streets in St. Paul. Grand is hoping to be again, like a commercial corridor.
Yeah.
And Summit was the place for the political elite, for the wealthy, for the sort of ruling class or the who's who of St. Paul.
Old white men.
Yeah, to own houses.
Yeah.
And carriage houses. And
Truth.
you know, and that's why I think the architecture is so gorgeous, because when all of those houses were built in the 1800s, early 1900s, the money, that was where the big money was. You know?
Yeah, man. These homes cost like $50,000, $60,000 sometimes to build, which sounds like nothing, but god damn, back then.
Yeah. And now these are, you know, conservatively 1.5 to 2.5 plus $1 million homes.
Yeah. And
if they were in Lake Minnetonka or parts of Minneapolis, it might be 3.5, $4 million homes.
Yeah, if you plunk some of those on Lake of the Isles or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I do love Summit Hill, because you find, just by virtue of when it was created. So we talked about this on one of our super early podcasts, that St. Paul in particular, like the core of the city, really was that downtown area right where Summit Hill and the cathedral are, right? Like, and the river,
Up
that's where it
above
started.
the downtown,
Yep, up above the downtown. And the city kind of grew out from that area.
Yep.
So the oldest homes that you still find standing in the city are right there. So
Yeah.
that's where you get 1860s, 1870s, 1850s. Yep. And as you get out to Mac Groveland or Highland or up towards Como, you're in the 1950s or whatever.
Right.
And so the Victorian style houses, Queen Anne, Italianate, just the amount of them in that neighborhood is pretty astounding. And that's why I really, really love that neighborhood, because if you're walking on Osceola or Lincoln or anywhere sort of south of Grand Avenue in that little pocket between St. Clair and Grand Avenue, you're going to find some incredible, still mostly single family homes that have maybe like a third floor room for let or an apartment mother-in-law suite or something
Yeah,
like
they
that.
were like servants' quarters or something.
Yeah, because they have a separate kitchen, separate bathroom,
Yeah.
separate entrances, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So that's why I like the neighborhood a lot, because I'm a sucker for those super old houses.
Yeah, I do have fond memories of walking up and down like those exact streets you're mentioning, especially as you go east of Lexington and even like east of Victoria on like the Lincolns and the Osceolas as you get closer to downtown. Those homes are like 5,000 square feet, 6,000 square feet, old as shit. Some of them haven't been maintained because they want to keep everything kind of how it was. Some of them have been, I've been in some of them. Some of them have been renovated tastefully, maintaining some of the old charm, the old character, with some tasteful modern updates. And a couple of them have been like were updated in like the 90s where they had like black toilets and stuff.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense at all. I don't know what that is.
That's a South Park episode where they do Johnny Cochran, the Johnny Cochran defense. It doesn't make sense. If an Ewok can be a Wookiee, then it doesn't make sense. If Chewbacca can be a Ewok or a Wookiee, then it doesn't make sense.
I was never a South Park guy.
It's pretty funny
it's blinders for me. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure I would like it.
They have a very funny real estate episode, which as a realtor I found absolutely hilarious. So what do you think the average or median home price, selling price is in the Summit Hill neighborhood? Let's go.
It's going to be expensive because the Twin Cities right now is, as of like hyper right now, is around close to $400K, right?
Mm-hmm. If we're going on the monthly.
On the monthly.
Like just today,
yeah.
What it costs. We dipped a little bit in May. 396,000.
396.
It's like 400,000 rejected. It rejected it,
Yeah.
If you're a crypto guy or whatever, it's going for the
As
all-time
you know,
high. Yep, and the crypto bros or Trump pump and dump, baby.
Yep.
So we're headed back down a little bit. So what do you think Summit Hill is?
590.
620.
620. Yeah, that's an expensive.
You're closer on the if you take the rolling 12s, we're more like 567, 570.
Sure.
But still well above the Twin Cities average.
Yeah, and a lot of those are skewed by home sales on Summit and then home sales on those secondary and tertiary blocks that you're talking about that are huge.
Tertiary.
I
think a better way to look at it sometimes would also be price per square footage because the homes are enormous.
Yeah.
A lot of those homes are enormous.
Yeah, and the price per square foot is not that high.
Well, 244, which, there are plenty of parts of Minneapolis or other places.
I guess I mean in like the 6,000 square foot mansions. They're not this price per square foot isn't necessarily that high because
it's not out of line with anything else in the city.
No.
Yeah, we're around 250 per square
Yeah.
foot. And a lot of times that's because just if you're paying 350 a square foot for a 6,000, 7,000 square foot home, that's
a
like
spicy meatball.
That's Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah.
That's Cadillac money.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, different topic. Did
Yeah.
you see the house that hit the market today on Lake Minnetonka?
No.
Most expensive home to hit the market
Ever
believe,
in the
ever
Twin Cities?
in the Twin
What do we
Cities.
got?
You want to guess?
17,442,000.
$55 million.
Oh my God.
Dollars.
They're not going to sell it.
8 bedrooms, 18
Who's the listing
bathrooms.
agent on that one?
I looked. I don't remember.
Here's what we got to
Guess
do.
what the taxes are on it a year?
Lower than my house in St. Paul.
You would think so.
242,000.
Yeah, it's like 260.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We need to wait for that thing to become expired and show up.
Oh yeah.
In three-piece
door knock.
three-piece suits.
Yeah.
Comb overs, Republican sweeps. We can get it done.
People respect tall people, so maybe we just do the thing where you get on my shoulders and we put like one big
Like
coat.
we'll be like Hagrid size.
Yeah, we'll be Hagrid size.
Yeah.
And we'll just
We'll have one of those voice modulators that
Yeah.
talks very deep, like Andre the Giant's our voice.
and a butter wanna put up.
Yeah, we'll use that line on him.
That guy.
You know what else is great about Summit Hill?
Oh yeah, Summit Hill.
The the shopping in the restaurants. Not as
Before
much
we
as
get
it
to
used to
that-
be.
Before we get to that,
All right, talk to me.
I want to talk a little bit about history. The first ever home in Summit Hill was on Summit and owned by the founder of McAllister College, where
That's right. Go
my lovely co-host Casey went to school.
Drink blood,
Go Bulldogs.
smoke crack, go Mac. That was the old soccer cheer that we used to.
It's not
Recite.
Bulldogs though, right?
No, we're not the Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
We're the Scots.
The Scots.
I think they voted on a new mascot last year, Nessie, like a Loch Ness monster.
Oh, that's
type of
cool.
thing. No, it might be. That was one of the finalists. I think they chose like some sort of cow. I don't know what the cow is supposed to be.
There's a lot of cows in Scotland.
Yeah, like a bull type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
You should have gone with like a glass of scotch.
They put it out to the alumni, the Macallan 48s.
Yeah, right.
The Macallan 47.
Right.
Yeah, so what year was it in? Let's focus.
I didn't put that down.
1805.
Interesting.
That's an early build, man.
That's an early build.
That's version 1.0.
The oldest home still standing on Summit is, I believe it's not in Summit Hill. I think it's down the road a little bit on Summit in Cathedral Hill, but it was built in like early 1850s and it's still there. The second house, however.
No, I'm sorry. It was 1862.
Okay.
1850, somewhere around there. I
There we
don't know.
go. The second oldest current house is in Summit Hill,
Yeah.
and it is called the Livingston Griggs House.
Okay. Can you visit it, or
At
is it a single family?
432 Summit Avenue. Which
So
is
it's not
right,
at Griggs, the corner of Griggs?
No, it's right next to the University Club. I believe it's the first house
Okay.
west of the University Club.
Okay.
Maybe two houses in.
Okay.
And also, the Griggs of Burbank Livingston Griggs had a relative named Chauncey Griggs.
Chauncey.
No lie, Chauncey. From Griggs to Billups. At 476 Summit, that's still there, that is the most haunted house in the state of Minnesota. Many people are saying.
How do the metrics work on that?
Again, this is my half-ass internet research.
That was Trumpian, by the way. Many people.
That's
are
why.
saying this.
That's why I
Yes.
did it.
Yes. You know that there were streetcars that ran up and down St. Clair and Grand Avenue.
I did know that.
That prompted the commercial corridor and a lot of the housing that we've seen there.
Oh, interesting. For somebody that's so ill-prepared, you seem Johnny on the spot.
I mean, I'm a St. Paul guy.
I know that's true.
I'm a Reading, Pennsylvania guy.
Yep, a Philly guy.
We discussed this last week. We get into some hot water. There could be violence on my head. There could be bounties for saying I'm a Philly guy.
You're a Reading guy first, but you're also a Philly guy
I mean,
when it
I
comes
love
to the rest of the country.
Philadelphia. Yes, I'm like a proximity.
Yeah,
kinda.
for Minnesotans, you're a
yeah,
Philly.
yeah. If I say Reading, people are like, "Where?"
Yeah.
And then I got to go into the Monopoly thing, you know?
Right.
But if I just say Philly, everyone knows that. And they go, "Oh, you guys are some real assholes when it comes to football," you know?
Is that what you get the most
Just
of?
because we smacked the Vikings down so hard.
Well,
every
and
year.
you throw icy snowballs at people, right?
We go to this, man. Santa was drunk. Santa was drunk.
Was he the one throwing the snowballs?
He deserved the snowballs to be thrown at him because he was drunk. You don't
Why
show up.
does
How do you
being-
kill 10,000 kids' dreams in that stadium with a drunk Santa?
Well, I don't think it deserves physical
Snowballs?
violence.
It's a snowball fight.
Yeah, but they were ice balls, from what I hear.
I don't think that there's
He
no
died
legal
because of
standing. No one died.
I'm just kidding.
You know, there was a jail in the bottom of that
I did,
stadium.
yeah, Veteran
processing.
Stadium,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good for them. They needed it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Okay, circling back to land the plane on F. Scott Fitzgerald
Yep.
and Frank Lloyd Wright. So F. Scott Fitzgerald lived in his youth up until he wrote his first novel, through the time he wrote his first novel, at 599 Summit Avenue,
Okay.
which is a little bit west of the University Club on Summit across the street. But Frank Lloyd Wright, famous architect, as everybody knows, designed some
who's he?
buildings. What's that?
Who's he?
He's an architect that did a bunch of modern art designed homes in
Okay.
the 1940s and 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Is that right?
Sounds right.
So he
We're
built
pretty loosey-goosey with the actual factuals on this
yeah,
podcast.
but this is actual fact. F. Scott Fitzgerald called Summit Avenue a mausoleum of American architectural monstrosities. And Frank Lloyd Wright calls Summit Avenue the worst collection of architecture in the world. I fact-checked these. So go ahead.
I kind of agree. And I just got done saying I love the neighborhood.
Yeah, but they are monstrosities.
Yeah, I like, again, so there's a distinction between what's built in that pocket from St. Clair to Grand, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes.
And what's on Summit itself.
Totally right.
And what's on Summit itself is just like
ostentatious.
Yeah, ostentatious, but also like one of those artists that's like, for this one, I'm gonna swing over the art and throw things at it, and then the next artist is like, well, I'm gonna take balloons and throw them filled with paint.
Yes.
And the next artist is like, I'm only gonna use my
pinprick my finger and drip blood.
It's like anything goes, man. So it doesn't have like this holistic feel, and some of them are just enormous, ridiculous houses.
And they're all old European style, whereas like Frank Lloyd Wright obviously had a mindset of
a certain aesthetic.
Certain aesthetic that was so much different than that. But that said,
they are some amazing houses inside. My buddies Chad and Maggie live on Summit, right above Summit Hill, and their house is phenomenal. And what's doubly cool about their house is the views from the backside of the whole Minnesota and Mississippi River Valley and the high bridge. You can see the whole thing. So they're pretty sweet.
My only question for them is, what does it cost to heat that house in the winter?
I could find out.
Because Summit has certain, it doesn't have an HOA per se, but the homes along Summit Avenue have to adhere to certain
historical standards.
One of them being windows.
Yeah.
Like, I had a showing for a house on Summit last year, and I haven't done a lot of showings on Summit. Hit me up, Summit residents. I need that experience.
They're certainly the ones listening to this podcast. Right. Just,
but I did have a showing for a buyer for a house on Summit, and I was asking the agent about some of the historical.
Yeah.
What would you call them?
Compliance or restrictions or
right,
code.
restrictions. And one of them is windows, whereas like I believe it's like, and I might be wrong, but something to the effect of the windows facing Summit Avenue have to be some facsimile of original. Which
single pane and drafty.
Yeah, man. That's why I'm asking. Like,
so a lot of those neighborhoods over there, though, Crocus Hill, Cathedral Hill. If you remember on Nina, we were talking about Nina. There, Chad and Maggie's former house was on Nina. It's beautiful Victorian Queen Anne ornate, just beautiful house. And I remember they were getting some siding work done, and they had to adhere to the width of the siding that had to be, so they couldn't use wide plank siding.
Sure.
It had to be like original wood.
Yeah, wood, right?
With siding, yep.
Yeah. They're not wrapping it in aluminum.
And that's to preserve the history and the charm of the neighborhoods, which I think is nice, And if you're looking at those neighborhoods, you can afford to do that, It's not like the choice is, we're going to live on Summit or, I'm not going to say another place because that gets into some other things, but like you're not choosing between, a townhome in Rosemount or a mansion on Summit. Generally, those are not going to be,
I can't foresee a scenario
in
which those would be the two options.
But Summit Hill also, I don't know if you're done with your F. Scott Fitzgerald.
I'm done with that part.
Okay, what do you got?
Well, the governor's mansion.
Yeah.
Governor's Mansion's in Summited Hill.
Summited Hill. Yep.
And it was originally designed for this rich old white dude from New England, as we're finding out the more we do this podcast.
So the governor.
No, not the governor.
Oh.
No, it was a civilian.
Okay.
A rich civilian from Vermont, I think. But as we do the podcast, we're finding that all the rich titans of industry were all
New England,
all from
upper
New
crust
England.
New England.
Upper crust New Englanders. Usually like younger dudes that are the son of even richer people.
Sure. Go out to Minnesota and see that my lumber is taken care of, Mortimer, and I'll be coming post haste in the fall. Do find a wife and build yourself a mansion. That's how I think of.
Fill up my vehicle with petroleum distillate.
Yes. We will be post haste by rail to St. Paul, the frontier of American history, where Nina runs the brothels and has a most pleasant
Demeanor.
yes. And that has been a St. Paul Minute by Andrew and Casey.
Very good.
Yeah.
But the governor's mansion was built for this dude.
Toot sweet.
And he died, and his daughters in the 1960s, or
Okay.
his granddaughters or something,
Yep.
were like, we would like to bequeath this to
The governor.
To the governor. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want this to be the permanent governor's residence or something.
know that.
And the state was like, cool.
So not until 1960.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Until then, governors lived in their own personal
Yeah.
single-family homes
Yeah.
or whatever. And then it's been changed over the years and adapted to various governors and their families' wants and desires and needs, and
Sure.
square footage has been added and taken away and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But it is a beautiful, beautiful stone residence.
Yeah.
And I think it just got finished doing a huge, like it was like
Yeah.
2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, because they the makeshift governor's residence was down by the Lake Street Bridge or Marshall Street Bridge, depending on where you want to.
I thought it was in Sunfish Lake.
Nope. It was right off of River Road
Agree to disagree?
and Lake Street. Nope, because
Okay.
when Tim Walz was the VP nomination, Secret Service was all over that place with blockades and
I
blocked
think we're
the streets
both right.
off.
I think when they first went under construction, they had a rental single-family home in Sunfish Lake, and then they moved.
Well, they might have, but where they ended up was still in St. Paul, right
Okay.
down on the river,
Fair.
with a gang pile of Secret Service and blockades, and the comings and goings of everyone in the neighborhood were tracked
Wow.
who shared the area.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's about all I have.
Can I tell you some of my favorite things about?
Hit me.
I love me some Grand Old Creamery,
I know you do.
Black Hills Gold, greatest ice cream flavor ever invented.
I say Nicollet Avenue Pothole. By
I know
Sebastian
that's because
Jones.
again, Minneapolis
Yep.
guy,
Yep.
St. Paul guy.
We have a Grand Old Creamery in Minneapolis.
I know it's on Cedar.
It is on Cedar
And
Minnehaha Parkway.
it's good, but it's not as good as the original.
okay.
The throwback, the Wayback Machine. It's trivia time. What was the Red Rabbit called before it was the Red Rabbit, and what was it famous for?
It was the Wild Onion.
Yes,
It's where I made out with my ex-girlfriend for the
and
first
that's
time.
what it's famous for. It's famous for debauchery,
Yes.
college kids and slightly older debauchery, drunken moments, and a keen mix of country music and the latest chart-topping rap hits.
Yeah, it was a scene, man.
Yes.
The Wild Onion. Holy cow. We
One
used
that-
to go when I was in my 20s. My ex-girlfriend, who is now my wife, and I and all of our friends would show up there at like 11 a.m. on Sundays to
Brunch?
under the guise of watching football,
Oh,
but to eat
Drink.
food and just drink.
yeah,
And then we would go home and nap,
yeah,
and then we would go out again.
yeah. Good for you. That's
What kind of life is that?
That's
That sounds awful.
yeah. Now it does.
Yeah, now. At the time, it was great. Anyway,
Cafe Latte, a
Yep.
St. Paul staple,
staple.
known for their
Cakes.
desserts, cakes.
German chocolate.
Yeah, German chocolate is great. The dulce de leche or the three milks
Ooh,
or
you're
whatever.
trying hard.
Yeah, they got some good
Tres
ones.
leches is
Tres
three
leches.
milks.
Yeah.
That's-
They have like the raspberry cream torte that's friggin' amazing. They also have pizza, soup sandwiches. Like it's a cafe, but they're known for their cakes.
Yep.
And desserts.
Yep.
Right across the street, Bread and Chocolate, also very good. Coffee shop.
Yep. Kitty corner.
Cooks.
Do you know some people
Cooks
around the country call it Caddy Corner?
Kitty Corner.
It's Kitty Corner.
Yeah, Kitty Corner. Not
Anyway.
catty corner.
Some people call it catty corner.
No.
People are saying.
People, there's word on the street. Is catty corner to that is Cooks. The original Cooks
Yeah.
used to be Cooks of Crocus Hill.
Yes, it did.
Now it's Cooks.
Yes.
And it teamed up with the dude who's like some sort of big chef, and now they serve like croissants and
Gavin Kaysen.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And what they changed the name to? Is it still Cooks,
I believe so.
or is it something else? But it's not Cooks of Crocus Hill anymore. But that's one of our favorite stores. It's got some cool. If you're like you're older, you're buying houses, you're watching this, then you know about your stainless steel cooking stuff and your.
To all you young folks out there.
It's like Williams Sonoma, but local and cool.
Yeah, and expensive, of course.
And expensive, sure.
But to all you young folks who are young whippersnappers, go get them. We're going to buy a house. You should buy a house. Buy a starter home. If you cook even at all, or even if you don't, you will cook. And there are certain things that you need, that you don't want to
Cheap
go
out
to
on.
IKEA for.
Yeah,
You don't-
enamel, like a la croissant.
Le Creuset.
Whatever, however you
Yeah,
say it.
get yourself a Le Creuset Dutch oven.
Yep.
Get a good cutting board.
Yep.
Get a good chef's knife. Get good pots and pans.
Get at least one good stainless
Yeah.
and pan so you can deglaze.
Get a wok.
Get a wok. I would tell you that carbon steel is my new thing. Get an egg pan that's like a good carbon steel so you can have it not be like non.
Yeah. Don't buy stainless pans, or like not stainless, non-stick. Like,
BPA.
yeah, don't mess with all that.
There's lots of good things, man. We have a rice cooker that we got for our wedding.
I don't
and
like
it's still
gimmicks. I just do
kicking,
it-
dude.
I just do it on the stove.
No. Because all
One
the
and a half
Asian
cups.
homies, like all my friends,
They use rice cookers.
all have them, man.
For sure. I know
and,
they do.
And when I used to go to their house for like when their moms were cooking big parties or whatever, the rice cooker would be going and they would
Yeah.
have the rice in there for a couple days at a time. And dude, I'm telling you, this thing, it's a Sanyo or something.
Yeah.
And it's 15 years deep. Everything
Nice.
is crapped out. Our waffle maker.
Yeah.
We're on our second or third Cuisinart. We're on
Yep.
our second or third KitchenAid. This rice cooker
Stands the test of
it
time.
stands the test of time, and it's amazing. Because I used to be a cooking on the stove guy.
Yeah.
It's just now you can cook the beans on the stove, and you can have the rice cooker going on the side, and you can free up a pan.
You're going to need a nice pair of tongs.
Nice pair of tongs, a good flipper,
Oh, spatula. Yeah.
Yep.
You're going to need a salt cellar.
What's a salt cellar?
All right.
A salt cellar?
A salt cellar. It's like a marble thing that's got a cover on it, and it's all made of marble, and you put your kosher salt in there.
Oh, all right. We use a wooden one.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
It's called a salt cellar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just am like,
don't-
it's
you
the
don't
wooden
use-
box our salt's in.
We're not at Denny's here,
No,
guys.
you don't shake the iodized salt.
No.
You pinch the kosher
You
salt.
pinch and then you go high
sprinkle.
up and you sprinkle.
You know what my wife got me for my birthday last year?
What's that?
Love it. A electronic pepper mill.
Oh.
And it's cool because each of the it has like these capsules, and you take the pepper mill. You can describe this for the audience. You take the pepper mill and you click it down on the counter or the capsule, right? So, and then you press the button and it grinds it. But you can have nutmeg, salt, coarse salt, pepper, and you can go click out, click to the nutmeg, grind it,
Ooh,
click
like the
out.
old colored pens.
Yeah,
Like where
it's
you just-
super dope. And it's
for me, it's a little too gimmicky for me. I'm sure it's great. I like
great.
the tactile sensation of grinding.
I get it. I
But-
get it. I was with you
Yeah.
after using it and having multiple different things that you can click
Yeah,
out of for your things. It's good.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
well, how do we get off on this? Cooks.
Cooks. Yeah, Cooks. And best, dare I say, best children's bookstore in the entire Twin Cities. Possibly
Red
one of
Balloon?
the best in the country, the Red Balloon. Yep.
I like Wild Rumpus, Minneapolis.
Yeah. Minneapolis. Hoity-toity. I mean, I can't say hoity-toity because Linden Hills and Grand are pretty much
Yeah.
two birds of a feather.
Yes.
But Red Balloon is great. You take your kids
Been
there for
1,000 years.
yeah, they have book reading and authors come in and
great.
kids hours and give you a balloon. Thus the name.
Yep.
Red Balloon. Anything else that you love about?
Well, Casey and I met at a now defunct restaurant right next to the Red Balloon.
Yeah.
Called Salut Bar Américain,
Salut.
which used to be Sydney's.
We would call it the Salut. Yep, you would. Yes, you
Lowbrow
would.
folks like you would.
Oh,
but
dude. Iron Ranger
Iron Ranger.
is in Summit Hill.
It is in Summit Hill.
You know, that's my new favorite St. Paul place for a sandwich.
I've only been there twice, and it's been spectacular.
The porchetta,
yeah,
spicy
With
porchetta, spicy jardinera,
Yeah,
bueno,
yeah.
molto bueno.
Okay, how long are you gonna be doing that?
I don't know. But yeah, love me some Iron Ranger and the Lexington, another St. Paul staple.
Yep.
It's where the old guys with mustaches eat on the roof.
That's true. I lived in Summit Hill.
Did you?
I did, in an old brownstone-ish apartment building across from the Tavern on Grand
Okay.
in 2003. I lived there.
Okay.
And it was great. I loved it. I had a balcony on Grand.
Yeah.
Grand All Day was amazing. I put
Yep.
a keg of beer out there, and I had a football, and I would sit on the balcony and just point at people that were in Grand All Day, just a mass of people, and I'd be like, "Hey!" and I'd throw them the football, and they'd throw it back.
I know
I loved it.
We talk a lot about like house buying, but you know, there are a ton of rental properties along
So many.
Grand or rooms for rent back in those neighborhoods. And it is a great place to rent and live because everything is so walkable. You walk to Kowalski's, another toy store that's there that my kids used to love when they were little, is Mischief Toy Store. But you can walk
I'm
to
not familiar.
one of a million cafes, coffee shops,
Yeah, all
you know,
over.
your drug, CVS, Walgreens, everything is there. Fratelloni's hardware store is there. Like, it really is a great neighborhood for like what feels like historic St. Paul living and walkability for younger people or to rent in as well.
Yeah, tons of rentals, and even on Summit, like some of these old homes
Are
either-
multi-unit rentals
Are
now.
multi-unit rentals now, right? They're
Yep.
like fourplexes, or they have these extravagant carriage houses that are rentals,
Yep.
or you know what have you, all up and down Summit. Because while they do have to maintain architectural integrity and stuff like that, they did split a bunch of them up into rentals.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I didn't get to one of my favorite parts about it. I'll say it very quickly. On Osceola, if you go on Victoria, Victoria and Grand is like your main intersection, one of your main intersections there.
Yep.
That's where Cafe Latte is and
Billy's
Bread and
used to
Chocolate.
be.
Billy's
Oh,
used
Billy's.
to
We
be
could
there.
talk.
Aveda,
spend a day on
Jute
Billy's.
Salon is there.
Jute, yes.
If you go south on Victoria and then make a left, so you'd be heading east on Osceola.
Correct. Osceola is the 3rd Street or the 2nd? It goes Lincoln.
It's like the 5th.
Oh, it's
in
closer to
there.
Victoria.
Yeah, it's closer to St. Clair.
Or I mean closer to St. Clair
Yes.
is what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like past Fairmount. I think it's one past Fairmount.
I see.
And if you head east on Osceola, you come to Summit Hill. You come to the hill and you start to go down
Yeah.
the hill. And the street turns to cobblestone. And
Love a
if you
cobblestone
look
street.
to your left, you will see 7 or 8 new builds. And they were built because a convent burnt down, like an old Catholic convent burnt down, and they replaced it with what are probably the newest houses being built in that whole neighborhood in St. Paul
When were they built?
within the last 10 years.
Okay.
And they are all so incredibly well done. They blend into the neighborhood, so
Good.
they fit architecturally with everything that's going on. But they are the most new, modern, custom versions of the beautiful, old Victorian style houses. And my old neighbor was lucky enough to snag one.
Wow.
And they moved because they were like, this came on the market, like we can't pass it up. And it's like one of the coolest blocks there is in St. Paul because you have mature tree cover. So it's one of the coolest blocks in St. Paul because you have mature tree cover,
Right.
cobblestone streets,
Right.
houses that are 100 plus years old, and then brand new, gorgeous new builds up on a hill that are just like the new versions of these old houses. And you wind down this hill and turn, and
these are Osceola addresses?
yeah,
Okay.
and you don't feel like you are in a city. It is
That's badass.
Like, it is one of the coolest, for a walk your dog, go for a run,
Yeah.
whatever. If you get to that part of St. Hill, man, the words are not coming today. You
Getting
get to
worse
that
and
part of
worse.
St. Paul, walk around that little area of Summit Hill, because you're going to find some gems in terms of housing and just like vibe and neighborhood. So I
Love it.
wanted to point that part of the neighborhood out before we hop into the relocation thing. So, anything else?
I thought that was a spectacular neighborhood watch, considering
Considering we didn't study.
considering I like copied and pasted a few facts from various articles I read,
Copy
and
pasta.
you did less than that.
I'm a jazz musician, man. I can rap.
Oh, I know.
Summit Hill.
We wanted to talk a little bit about if you go to golden-shields.com, it's going to be a little bit of self-promotion, but also some stuff that really makes sense. And so if you go to golden-shields.com, you will find our website. It kind of, talks a little bit about us. There's some, what do you call those things when people talk about you? And
There's blurbs. So we have some testimonials, not all
That's
of
the
them,
word.
because I got to update that stuff.
Yeah, testimonials.
Testimonials. We got our latest listings, our
listings, our latest solds.
we got what we do, our bios, our story, our mission statement.
Yes. But we also have these short form videos called field trips, and also at the top it says real estate ampersand relocation. Is it an ampersand or is it the word and? I don't know. But
Is it an ampersand?
I don't remember. But go to golden-shields.com, and we thought it was vitally important to put the relocation word in there and to focus some of our energy and resources on relocation. It first came from a singular event that I don't know if you want to talk about, but like you had posted something on social media and gotten a response.
Yeah. So I posted, when we were talking about Nicollet Island, I posted a TikTok about Nicollet Island and the cool architecture there, and it did really, really well.
Yeah.
And a client, I'm going to shout her out, Babs, saw it on Threads and said, "Hey, you seem like a good guy. I like your posts. We're thinking about relocating to the Twin Cities. Or would you be able to help us out?" And I started thinking like, oh, this could be a good thing for people relocating here for various reasons, whether it's professional, physicians, corporate, or whether it's political or climate or seeking a new community or whatever, right? Like, Andy has some background in relocation because he's been doing it for 6+ years with physicians.
Yep.
And I thought it'd be a great way to take Andrew's background in that and combine it with sort of what's happening post-election and people moving to Minnesota and the Midwest, which we saw a lot of people moving away the last decade through COVID, and now maybe coming back for quality of life and community feel, especially in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so that's become a push for our business, is helping people move here and find community here because we love it so much here.
Right.
We love the community, the arts, the feel, everything about it.
Yeah.
So that's become a big focus of our business, is helping you, or if you're somewhere that you don't want to be and you're lucky enough to be able to consider relocation, we're here to help you achieve that. And whether that's finding a realtor in your current market to list your house and make sure that they take care of you on that end and they're goals, ethics, and everything align with yours. Whether it's virtual showings and virtual tours, FaceTime tours for houses, whether it's city tours where we drive you around the cities and give you a holistic tour of the Twin Cities as a metro area, or get really neighborhood specific and dive into what neighborhoods you want to be in and where see yourself living.
Yep.
Or if you're not ready to purchase and you're just want to rent, look, it's not really about like what ultimately like what's best for us, what puts money in our pocket, right? It's about like truly, like putting on for the Twin Cities and helping people find community and bringing cool people to the cities, because that only makes the community stronger and better. So if that means we're helping you find some rental stuff or recommending neighborhoods, like we're down for that kind of stuff too.
Absolutely.
I don't know what else you wanted to say about it.
No, I didn't. I think you said it well. I mean, I think what we continue to find, the more open houses we do at our own listings, and people we talk to and people that communicate with us via social media, is like Casey said, if you are in a position to be lucky enough to be able to be quote unquote Twin Cities curious, and because of whatever reason, whether it be because you're a minority of any kind, LGBTQ, if you're a woman, if you live in a state like, let's say, Florida, whose insurance, it's costing homeowners in Florida, tens of thousands of dollars a year just to get an insurance policy.
If they can get insurance.
If they can get insurance, anything like that from, for any reason, the Twin Cities is frequently a place on people's lists of places they're thinking about going. So we just want to, we recognize that, and we see it in person, and it's a real thing that is a thing going on around this country, and we just want to be, stewards of the community and the Twin Cities, and welcome people with open arms, show them what the Twin Cities can be, help them find a home, help them find a place to live, and offer all the services that we offer.
Yeah. Plus, there's a good chance we, will throw you a party and invite your friends over and sleep on your couch. And then you'll never get rid of us, and
we'll be the sleep on the couch guy.
Regret your life choices at that point. But we're here for it, and we're here to help you guys.
Yep.
All jokes aside, like I think that's been my favorite thing so far in this new venture. About being a realtor, is helping people move here. ReLocation just closed 2 months ago from California. Another relocation before that just closed from Florida. In specific for, they felt like they didn't get to know their neighbors. They didn't have anything in common with their neighbors. They were searching for some common ground and community and like-mindedness when it comes to culture or politics or just general outlook on being a human. And they felt like they didn't find that in the Tampa Bay area. So they moved here. And that was one of my favorite processes, was connecting them with people and contractors and seeing them in their new home and talking about how they've met more neighbors than they had in years in Florida.
That's
and
great.
Felt a part of it. And now jointly with the family, multi-generational family, multi-pronged family that we're helping
from Missouri.
We got a mom, dad, and their two kids. We got grandma and partner, and we got other daughter and her husband or boyfriend possibly, who are renting. Right. So again, it stems all aspects of relocation, and I'm here for it, man. I really love it. And it gives us a chance to talk like what we do on this podcast. It gives us to do it with people.
That's
in
it.
person.
That's it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. You want to put a pin in that? Talk about some Boomtimes?
Welcome to Boomtimes, a segment called Boomtimes.
You got boom. You always have boom.
I always have Boomtimes.
I'm gonna give you my one Boomtime first. I
Okay.
feel like I always get to TV is my main Boomtimes
Sure.
thing. Two things. I've rediscovered my love for Pearl Jam because I've rediscovered running. I am about.
You talked about this on Boomtimes last week.
Did I? 10? Son of a bitch. Okay.
This was your Boomtimes.
Did I
last
have
week.
the Garmin? Did I buy my Garmin watch?
No.
I bought a Garmin watch. I decided I'm done with Apple Watch because my Apple Watch was dying at like 6 p.m. every night. And I went runner specific. I got a Garmin watch.
I don't know what that
13 days of battery life on this thing,
Ooh.
so I can wear it while I sleep. It tracks my sleep. It gives me all sorts of metrics on my heart and my breathing, and has a coach for running. And I love the damn thing, man. It's I love it. I'm a huge proponent. And what I like about it is it doesn't do all the Apple Watch stuff. So I get notifications, but I don't get bombarded with notifications. I see that I get a phone call, but I can't take the phone call. I can't reply to my text. Like it's not as intrusive as an Apple Watch, and it's more fitness focused. And I'm trying to be a fit dude as I get older. So
Many people are saying.
that is, many people are saying. And then secondly, Netflix show called Sirens.
I have heard of it.
It's awesome. It's like
It's like famous actors, right?
Julianne Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Bacon, and then two other, like lots of people you'd recognize, like the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of Dragons. She was like the younger House of Dragon chick.
I had a friend, very quickly, regarding Kevin Bacon, that used to call him Kevin Bacon's Bits because he showed his penis in the movie Wild Things.
Didn't know that. My cousin James starred in a movie with Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon's Bits.
Not Kevin Bacon's Bits,
Oh,
just
okay.
Kevin Bacon
Oh,
himself.
okay.
Yeah. Called Cop Car.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So it's called Sirens, and it's awesome. We're not all the way through it yet, so I can't tell you how it ends, but it's funny and it's like thought-provoking and quirky, and it's a really good watch.
Love
And,
it.
It's worth your time if you're looking for a new show. That's a good one to check out.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. People say.
The many are. I wanted to shout out to a friend of the podcast, John O'Sullivan. The Hidden Middle is now a thing.
It is a
I
thing.
watched the first episode.
I want to tell John, you're dead to me, John. You filmed in here for the preview.
Yes, he
I was
did.
supposed to get tickets to the premiere.
Oh,
You're dead to me, buddy. Make it right.
atone.
Or you're going to be banned from the podcast.
You don't want a Casey.
You don't want to be banned.
No.
But seriously, congrats on the Hidden Middle.
Yeah, it's
Don't-
real. The first episode's really, really good.
Don't get
It's-
yourself banned.
It's you can go. It's on YouTube for sure. That's where I watched it.
Yeah.
But just search up The Hidden Middle, and the first app's out. It's like a half an hour.
Yeah.
It's really interesting and thought provoking.
Yeah.
And it's shot
He's
well.
he's good at what he does.
Yeah, he is good at what he does. So
Not so good at honoring promises.
Promises?
To Casey Golden. But
To acquaintances?
He's good at what he does. Yeah.
I don't really have too much else.
What are people saying?
You know what some people are saying?
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to sound like an old man, but YouTubers are popular. My daughter, who's 12, follows this YouTuber
Yeah.
named
Mr. Beast.
Simgee, I think is her name.
Yeah.
She's from LA.
Yeah.
She's younger than me.
Yeah.
She's a content creator. She makes
Yeah.
rugs or something.
Yeah.
She had her first ever meet and greet on Grand Avenue this past Saturday. She was going to be there from 11 to 6.
Did your daughter go?
I took my daughter there.
She didn't
She
go.
was saying basically at 9 a.m. she was like, "We got to go now," and I'm like, "It's from 11 to 6. We're not leaving now." We get there at 10:45. So this is on right next to Salou. It's
Okay.
like, you remember that ballet
School.
school Grand Jeté? Right next to there is like a little place called 36 Cafe.
Yeah. It's like former D'Amico's.
Yes,
Yeah.
probably. That
Yeah.
sounds
That's,
right in my
it's
head.
right by the Pizza Hut.
Yeah. It's on the 900 block, I believe.
Yeah. St. Paul.
Anyway, So I'm driving up Grand. My mouth is opening wider and wider because as we get there, the line starts outside of that place, goes north to the next street where the Salou building was, goes west all the way along that street to Summit, goes south on Summit another half block. That's a long block.
And this
too.
was not Grand Old Day.
No, this was the day before Grand Old Day.
Oh.
All to do a meet and greet with Simgee. So we get there, we wait in line an hour and 20 minutes so far.
Yep.
And the dude, some representative with Simgee comes out.
Himgee?
Himgee. And is basically saying they're only allowing the first 300 people in, and that's going to take until 6 p.m.
Weak.
And they said, here's a
How
wristband.
long is the meet and greet, man? Hello. Good, nice to meet you.
I don't-
Goodbye.
Pictures, there's autograph, whatever.
Help
And then he
make a
said,
fucking rug?
you're not one of the first 300, clearly.
Weak, dude.
So, but he said, here's a wristband.
Yeah.
She has said she wants to be able to say hello to everybody that wants to say hello to
Okay.
her. Come back at 6. Get back in line. She'll come out.
Okay.
So we had a wristband. We waited all day. But we went back at 6, and there was only like 30 people in line.
Okay.
So we got to meet her like within 30 minutes of
That's
that.
a good dad move right there, man.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of fucked up a little bit by getting there late, but other than that, it was a good
I
dad move.
contend if we would have gotten there early and were one of the first 300,
You wouldn't have been the
We would have
30.
been waiting.
Yeah.
The people at the front of the line,
Yeah.
I went and asked them.
Yeah.
They got there at 5 a.m.
It's like when I saw Prince with 15 people. at
That's
Bailey
exactly
Park.
right.
Yeah, cool. That's
Yeah.
good stuff. All right,
Is it-
well, shout out Simgee.
Shout out Simgee.
Hey, and shout out you.
Thank you for joining us.
This must be the place. Yeah, this must be the place. Ain't no time to waste. Ain't no time to waste. So whether you